and welcome back to Australia's only Classic Mini YouTube channel. On this episode, we're going for a drive in my Classic Mini to go help out the customer in which I fitted the brake booster to rectify a brake fluid leak. So you heard right. Unfortunately, after I did the brake booster on the customer's car, he was overseas, so he didn't get to drive it straight away. By the time he got to drive it about a month later, he sent me a message saying, "Hey man, I've got a puddle of fluid underneath my car. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Do you reckon come around?" So you got to remember, when you do jobs like this and you're getting paid for it, even if you're not, you need to hold some sort of standards. So I hold myself to a standard of being able to offer warranty to customers, offer on parts, labour, but most importantly, workmanship. Those are the fundamental things that any successful business will adhere to. Sometimes things don't always go according to plan. You might forget bolts or clips, you might forget to do something, change something, maybe even leave a dirty fingerprint mark. So it's always important to make sure that when you do a job for someone, that you help them in the best way that you possibly can, especially if it's the first time dealing with them. Now remember, you only get one chance at a first impression. So if you stuff it up, chances are they're probably not going to come back. So where I live in Western Sydney, it's about an hour's drive, so let's see what the sunset brings. So one thing I always forget when I'm driving Grace is she has a mind of her own. Now by that I mean she tends to steer quite a lot to the right. Probably because I've got more caster on the left than I do the right, which is perfect for Australian roads, but the downside of that is I need to hold on to the steering wheel quite a lot. The reason I've got more caster on the left hand side compared to the right is not only for wheel alignment purposes, but also when it was lower than what it is now, it used to scrub quite a lot. So the only way that I could get this thing to properly drive was to adjust the caster so it wouldn't scrub. For example, we're pretty much in the next lane. Let's have a look at the car. Alright, so this is the one that we did the brake booster on not long ago. So as you can see down here, brake fluid level's quite low, it's not good, but I believe the suspect to be that T-piece just down there, that brass one. So, given that pipe is new, I'm hoping it's not the issue, but you never know. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap that T-piece out, and then we'll see how we go in bleeding it.
Now this job was fairly easy to do. The only difficulty that I had was removing the pipes because of the minimum amount of room that was available. So it just took a bit of time and a bit of patience as well. Once you've loosened the nut using a spanner, you can then generally undo it by hand. The other two pipes that were fitted were a little bit firmer and did take a little bit longer to be able to get out compared to the top one. This overall job of removing these three pipes from the T-fitting probably took me about 10 minutes or so, just because I had to work it back and forth. Now make sure as well you have plenty of water on standby when you're doing this job, or any brake fluid job in particular. The reason is because you can see on the firewall there, the paint is starting to chip, it's coming away, and it's starting to bubble. That is a really good indication that brake fluid has been spilt, or maybe even just overflowed, or something's happened along the track where it's starting to eat the paint away. Now that's not what you want. A really good way to dilute brake fluid is with water. Now remember, brake fluid is also hydroscopic, which means that it is broken down with water, and that's the reason why we change it over time. So once I'd worked my magic here and just absolutely persevered through there with cramps in my fingers, I was finally able to remove the T-piece from the bracket.
Alright, so that's the old one there. We're just going to swap that over and see if it rectifies it. Grab the new one, courtesy of Minisport. So I'm just going to fit that bolt first and just do it up with your fingers. It is a little bit hard to see with the camera. So we're just going to loosen and tighten that nut. Alright, so leave that loose, and then we're just going to fit the other brake pipes to it, and then we can tighten them all once it's all on. Alright, next step, we're just going to top up the brake fluid and give it a couple of pumps and just see if it's going to leak straight out of there or not. So brake fluid refill tool's pretty handy. Alright, pump it. Alright, stop. Alright, so what we found is there is a different coloured fitting here compared to down there. So we're thinking maybe the fitting is the wrong one. So we're just going to swap it around and give it another go. Alright, so we've just reversed this pipe, so you fit it around the other way. This will be the moment of truth. We'll give this a quick little clean down here, and we should know, hopefully fairly quick. Righto, mate. Okay, stop. Alright, so she's not leaking from that main point, she's now leaking from this pipe fitting here. So let's just retension that and then reassess it. Alright, let's go again. Yep.
Leaking?
No. I think that's it. I think.
They had tape on the bottom.
Yeah. I think that's rectified it. So I don't think it was actually that T-piece. I think it might have just been that pipe. But like I was saying.
That bottom one, you mean?
Yeah. So I think this side one here. Well, that one was leaking just then, which didn't seem like it was tight enough. But that top one, maybe that top one was around the wrong way. So maybe these are orientated one day. Guys, if you're in the mini industry and you know anything about these, this is the second time I've done this. Let me know if this pipe needs to go one particular way from the brake booster up here all the way down to that T-piece there. We're going to just clean it down now, and then we'll just have another assessment to make sure we've diagnosed it correctly. Alright, we've just triple checked, we cleaned it down, and it appears that the hose was around the wrong way, so it probably does go one particular way. Now, we just got to go back through, and like I showed you in the video up above here, how to bleed it. We're going to bleed it here, and then just go around and bleed each of the nipples and make sure she's all good, road test it, and then we can send it on its way. Alright, so what I've done is just down here, where the bleed nipple is on top of the brake booster, I've got my brake fluid sucker just connected here. All I did was keep topping up the brake fluid here, getting to pump it through. That way all the air goes all the way through here. When you see a consistent stream of fluid like there is now, we know that it's completely bled. So we're going to start it up and just make sure that the pedal feel is nice and firm, and if we need to continue bleeding the brakes down at each of the wheels. Alright mate, let's start her up, let's have a look. Right, so we're pretty happy with that. We just had it running for a little bit, and there seems to be no leaks at all, and it is quite a firm pedal, probably better than what we had originally. So we're just going to clean it all up, wash it down with a bit of water, and then go for a lap around the block and just confirm what we've done has fixed it. Go for a bit of a drive and see how it feels. How's it feel, mate?
Feels good, but it feels like there's still air in the system.
Still a little bit spongy?
Yeah. Alright. Like you brake and it's not braking.
Not straight away?
Yeah.
Alright guys, that's it. We rectified the problem, had to bleed the brakes a couple of times, but we got there in the end. So like I was saying before, it's always good to make sure you offer warranty on your jobs that you do, whether it be parts, labour, or even just your workmanship. So although this was something silly that I probably overlooked, we rectified it in the end. So thank you very much to Hader for allowing me to work on your car once again. Thanks for watching and subscribing guys, and we'll see you here on another episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups.